as a developer on MineZ, I'm primarily the boring hardware backend guy. So I'm the guy behind the scenes that whenever the servers crash, I usually cause the problem. So I do database stuff. I make sure the servers are up. I do the bash scripting in the back end. If you don't know what that is, it's basically we have automated scripts to send out our updates so that we don't have to download everything and then upload it to 31 servers. So it's been a joy working on the project, and I'll let Laser talk for a second. Speaking to introduce himself.
Yeah, so I'm lazertester. I do the development, I get the sexy job as we talk between us. So I get to do all the in-game development. I think a lot of you might have interacted in-game at some point, or I might have banned some of your friends. It would never happen. It never happened, right? Oh, by the way, as we continue, anyone who has like open seats, can we squish together? We all love each other for the sake of Minecraft, and there are people that are standing in the back, and as many people as we can try and fit in like seats would be amazing. Just like, we don't have to sing Kumbaya, just scoot in one by one. There's a couple seats up in the front, right? Cool. There's like 2 up here. There's a couple around. Just find stuff. Thanks for being buddies. It'll come in handy with the new settlement stuff coming out to MineZ, because you'll be banding together a little bit more. So it'll be good. So what was I saying? What I do? Oh yeah, I ban people. So MineZ consists of a server-side modification where it's all ranging from some modifications, some vanilla server aspects like the zombie entity and those kinds of things, to just plain run-of-the-mill bucket plugins like our own ban system and things like that. And cross-server persistence is one of the big features that we struggled with at the beginning, and that's where if you log out on one server and you log in on another, even if it's in another region or anywhere, you'll pick up right where you left off. And so unless you log out in the air, in which people get mad at me because you get killed for that because it used to be an exploit. So apparently my Wi-Fi is not happy. So anyway.
I was going to give you guys a little bit of a brief history. I think walking around MineCon, the biggest question that we've gotten from people are, how did you get there? What made you start to make something like this? And I'll back up real quickly and just talk about some of the milestones and where we are today, and then I'll talk about how we got there. To date, we are nearing 650,000 unique players who have played MineZ. In a given day, a 24-hour period, we have about 45,000 people play on the servers, and in a full week, we'll have about 125,000. So we see a lot of traffic, and we're very excited that people are enjoying it and having a really good time with the game. But going back, it was funny. I got into Minecraft back before PvP. You could even PvP in a server. It was just building, and dropped off a little, and then came back in and started up a faction server. And I started realizing, I was like, I can code these custom plugins and create something completely different and add on to this existing factions plugin. And so I started to talk to developers, and that's how I met your developer.
So there was HighlifeTTU was working with other developers at different times. People would fade in and out, and I had been playing on the server for probably 6 months or so, and I just kind of was like, I'm a software developer by day. I actually work at software QA automation, so I make automation frameworks for testing software, and so I thought, hey, I'm going to learn Java. Hey, I'll learn to mod Minecraft. And I just say, hey, HighlifeTTU, do you have any plugins you want made? And he said, well, I'd like a factions notice board where basically the leader of a faction could set a message that would display to all the members whenever that member logged in. And that was my first experience with Minecraft plugin coding. It was just that factions notice board plugin, and that was, I think, 8 months ago. And then we were like, one night, 6, 7 months ago, we were like, let's think about what if we made MineZ, something that is kind of like MineZ with the crazy zombies and all that, and then now here we are today, and I'll pull up just for. This is I'll show you the secret behind the scenes look. This is the amount of plugins. You'll recognize some that are common, but most of them are like, so we have MineZ blocks, blah, 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 and so you can see a little bit of the infrastructure of MineZ, along with the custom bucket build that we have and some other fanciness, but it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I'll brag on Laser here. I have never met, having worked now with a number of different developers, I've never met somebody who can code something so quickly, and at first, not so efficiently, but he picked that up later. For instance, the zombie AI in MineZ, it's not just, hey, is a player nearby. Laser created an aggro system that's based on line of sight and sound. So there's two different checks when you're walking around with the zombies in relation. So using that system, we then tied into it and have the AI, once it detects you, just start sprinting at you. And the first time it happens, you're like, wait a second, I thought zombies were supposed to be slow. And then you realize that, yeah, we picked the fast zombie type for our game. So a credit to him, he created the full zombie AI for MineZ in 3 days, which is phenomenal. We had we had it in our mind that we wanted to create this, and yeah, this goes along with a lot of the features that we create. You just don't know if something is going to, I mean, it sounds great on paper, but you don't know if it's going to be fun when you get to the game. So the first thing we tackled was the AI, and we put it on a server, and I still have, I think, one of the original pictures of you being chased by a horde of about 25 zombies. They're just grouped up in this pack, and we're just screaming at each other on Mumble because it's so funny to watch this happen. And we died like 100 times in about 10 minutes. And so we looked at it, we're like, all right, this is gonna be awesome.
And so what I'm pulling up right now is I'm gonna log into a MineZ server, the instance that I have here, and kind of show off some of the features. Anyone who's played MineZ will recognize I'm kind of just outside the opt-in. Now, my battery on my laptop is about to die. There was somebody who was going to be grabbing like an adapter so I could plug in, so hopefully we can get that before it dies, because it's like, yeah, it should have been charged, but somehow it wasn't. So anyway, so there's the opt-in for anyone who's familiar with the MineZ architecture. And I just set up a flat grass area just for fun. And I've got the dongle, so I should be able to now use a mouse. Oh, fantastic. Let's see if I can, maybe.
But I guess I'll sit like this. That's kind of awkward, but you know.
So what I've got, let me just get, I don't know if anyone's familiar, but we have an admin stick of doom, where if we right click, it'll spawn a zombie. It's one of the most useful debug tools ever.
Yeah, the players don't like it when they see us with the stick in our hand.
Yeah. So anyway, right now I'm vanished, so the zombies are unaware of me, but if I go into game mode 0 and unvanish, you'll kind of get a picture of, oh crap. No! That is how you play MineZ. Okay, so
the zombie AI is really the core of the experience, but and we'll get to some of the new features here in a bit for you guys who've played before, but for those who haven't, if we can get the battery back up, we can showcase it. But one of the other things that we're really excited to introduce is that in the Minecraft client, they have a giant zombie, but it's not used in the game. So we took the giant zombie, and I told Laser one day, I was like, it'd be really cool if we could make this giant zombie. And then when players hit it, it spewed out like little zombies, and then it would jump up in the air, and then when it landed on the ground, an explosion would come out and hurt everything around it. Basically create a boss mob in Minecraft. And a day later, Laser produced the giant.
Yeah, I really wish my laptop wasn't dead right now, because I could show off a little bit of how it functions. But basically, has anyone here fought a giant? Do you have the adapter? Oh, it's, I've got, yeah, go ahead and talk about it.
But basically, the great thing about that is that, if you go in, the core of MineZ is starting out with nothing, and then trying to get enough to survive. And you're fighting other zombies, you're fighting players, but once players got the good items, the zombies weren't as much of a threat anymore. We're like, what can we do to add a challenge to the game, and this giant filled that role. It added kind of a in-game hunting. We started to see people go, oh, I really want to fight a giant. I want to get into giant hunting party. And I think people are pretty good at killing them now. I've heard of people, 2 or 3 people being able to take them on because they've kind of figured it out. But when they first came out, it took about 10 to 15 people to kill one. And what happens is when you kill one, then we give you a very special item, a diamond sword, and that's the only way you can get in the game. So it was a fantastic feature for MineZ, and while we're working on a settlements feature, which we'll detail here in a little bit, to open up some other avenues, I'm hoping we'll be able to revisit boss mobs at some point to be able to add more things like the giant that basically create something you would never experience in normal Minecraft. So when you play MineZ, it's not like, oh, I've done this 100 times. It's like, whoa, that is something I've never seen before. I didn't even know that was possible.
And that's one of the big focuses of MineZ is the fact that we have it so that you don't have to download anything client side. You just connect to the server. It means that every time you connect, you don't know what's new yet. You just connect, and then all of a sudden it's that journey of discovery all over again. And that's what we're hoping to achieve with big rollouts like settlements, but also there's little changes to the map happening, little updates to pieces of plugins. I don't know if anyone was around from before the friend system existed where you could tag friends. I don't know, there might be people who play or didn't even know that we had a friend system where you could tag friends and just kind of have them marked with blue names in game. I don't give you PvP protection because I'm not that nice. I mean, I want to see you all die. That's kind of the point of MineZ, right? And so, but that's one of the real focuses of MineZ is that we want to keep it. It's always evolving and always growing, and that's where the settlements feature that HighlifeTTU mentioned is that we've got basically these plots of land that are predefined where you can go and you claim the settlement. Somebody will put themselves in the political position of mayor, and they can lay down buildings and.
I'm going to stop him real quick. For those of you who don't know, MineZ has, we have a fully hand-painted world, so we use World Painter to create all the continents, and then we have a build team that also uses build submissions from the community. So we have a very large hand-built map. But in MineZ, you can't break the blocks. It's a static world, so the players aren't allowed to build anything, and that's done on purpose. It's an adventure-style mode, and that's what led us to settlements.
Yeah, that'd probably be a good background. You're like, why would you want to pick these pre-built areas? But yeah, so everywhere else you can't really modify the map, but the point of this is that you can get people together, get a few players together, get a lot of players together, and claim an area of the map as your own, and there'll be predefined areas that you'll be able to claim, so you can't just like claim anywhere. So, but you'll be able to go in and then every week there'll be the members of that settlement can vote on who the next mayor is going to be. So there'll be a little bit of that political metagame for the few people who feel the responsibility of wanting to run a settlement and want to try and campaign their fellow settlement members to try and vote for them, or there'll be political overtakes. You know, a group of bandits will try to join a settlement and try and sway the votes one way or the other, and I'm sure that there'll be a lot of those tensions. That's the kind of fun interaction we want to try and bring with the settlements update as well.
Yeah, hopefully if we can get this laptop charged, we can show it off. Laser's done a fantastic job using some of the capabilities that have just come out in Craft Bucket. That it feels really good when you feed resources into this settlement building and you see it build. And we've got automated guard towers so that if you are an enemy or a zombie, the guard tower just starts shooting arrows at you. So the whole idea with settlements is that we give you a whole bunch of buildings. It's kind of a little sandbox for you to build whatever you want, but you can't build everything. And then you got to weigh your decisions. It's like, well, do I want to have a bunch of guard towers, or do I want a bunch of cool buildings that give me features that another settlement won't have? But that could open you up to be a big target. So it's that type of flexibility, and then tie that in with the political aspect. If you join a settlement and you elect this guy to pick the buildings that are going to be in there, is he making the decisions you want him to make? Do you think you would do a better job? So maybe you would go round up some of the other members and say, hey, let's get this guy out of here. And so we think that it's going to probably really boost the forum attendance as they argue over who's going to be the best leader and basically do campaigning.
As if there weren't enough clan war posts in the forums already, right? Man, I'm kind of disappointed. I had this charging all day, but it must have been left on in my backpack in my haste to leave, so apologize for that. Do you have anything you want to cover in particular? Do you want to kind of just...
Yeah, so we've got some other topics here that we can talk about, but I felt that probably the best way to do this is just to let you guys ask questions. Hopefully we've given you, those of you who have never played before, at least a little background about what we're about, and we're happy to answer questions about what we're developing, how we got here, how we do coding. We can go do technical questions. It's just whatever you guys want to know about. And if there are no questions, then I've got some things we can keep going on. But I'll just open it up if anybody's got them.
Yeah, anybody, any questions? Oh, so you're asking if we'll ever have guns in MineZ? No, we're focusing actually on like a pseudo-medieval era with MineZ, so we're not trying to be exactly like DayZ. It's inspired, basically we have the kind of random loot and the cities that you go and raid and then the fast zombies, but from there we're branched off into kind of our own little genre there, so we won't ever introduce guns into MineZ, I believe. I mean, who knows what the future brings with mod API capabilities and things, but as of right now, there's no plan to do that. Yes? Will there be, sorry, I wish we had a farms? Yeah, we have a farm building type so you'll be able to actually grow a farm and have crops that you can actually harvest as one of the buildings, absolutely. Let's go from the left side. Yeah, so building, we were not able to look at something. Okay, no, that's fine. So with the settlements, the placement is based around ender chests. Like when you place it down, the building will kind of build around up to a certain point, and then you have to feed that chest resources to have it build. And if you need details on that, there's a video on the MineZ.net homepage that kind of details that, where I went over it with Vacon, who I think is here. Dan, you here? Hey, there he is. Where he and I went over the kind of the basics of how settlements work, and he kind of asked a bunch of those kinds of questions, and definitely helps out with that. You right there. What's the longest anyone's ever? I think we have a leaderboard on the website, right? So we'll have HighlifeTTU look that up, and then we'll definitely have that answer. What do you? Yeah. Yeah, as far as boss mobs, you just mentioned, the wither and things like that, we're definitely considering it. I'm not going to say there's a boss mob already in development right now, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Part of the reason we don't just go and just add, like the wither is awesome. I'm so glad that Mojang went out there and made this awesome boss mob. But the reason we don't just add the wither is that you can experience that on your own. And so what we'd like to do is take our experience, and Lazer's gotten very good at coding custom AI. At one point we had wolves, and they're still planned, we just need to optimize them, but the wolf, you would have a wolf pack spawn. There's one wolf that's designated as the alpha, and the alpha roams, and then the beta wolves will follow the alpha around. And then what would happen is when the wolves attack a player, the wolves would start circling the player and then lunge randomly at the player. And if the player at any point, he can kill the betas and then kill the alpha, but if he doesn't do it in that order and happens to hit the alpha, all the wolves just converge on you and just start tearing you apart. Now, the AI for that is actually working code right now. It just isn't efficient enough to put into the servers at the moment, so we'll go revisit it once we get done with settlements and get that in. But going back to the question, you'll be able to experience the wither in vanilla Minecraft. So what we want to do is when you see the wither, we may use the wither model, but we're going to change it up so much that you're completely caught off guard. Because our idea is that the first time you meet one of our boss mobs, it's just going to crush you. And then that way it's fun, it's something different, and you go and you may walk away from MineZ for a couple months, but then come back and go, oh, that's an awesome feature. I gotta go check this out.
and then you die.
Oh, over here, way on the left.
Did you just talk about a mob that shoots out baby zombies? That's actually being worked on right now.
So, next question. Right here in the center.
So you're asking like if we'll take on like other dimensions like the nether, the end, and expand into those. It's definitely a possibility. As of right now, I don't think that's where we're going to be going with it. But I mean, anything's possible. That's one of the fun things is that we kind of get to. We'll plan out big features and then little features along the way, and bug fixes, of course, and then we can kind of plan on what the next big thing is. But I know that we've got settlements, and then we're going to be focusing on some more mobs as far as immediate direction.
And to answer the previous question, the longest time alive is 9 days, 16 hours, and 44 minutes. But that's kind of a sad question because I went on the subreddit today, and that player has died. So he is the longest. His name is You Lose Fast. He didn't lose so fast this time. But while he is the reigning leader of time on the leaderboard, he will not be growing that time anymore. So that we have the leaderboards on the site. It's kind of fun for the players to compete on the various. No, it doesn't. But I think the players, somebody knows. I'm sure the community will get that information out here pretty soon to see how he bit the bullet.
Probably hit the ground too hard. He was just jumping down. Too high height limit, right?
Let's get somebody way in the back. Gray sweatshirt.
You whitish sweatshirt.
Sorry, what was? Yeah, I mean, well, we have armor spawns never like 100%. The point of that is that way you have to keep going, and it also makes the armor of your enemies and their wonderful player zombies they now spawn with wearing that armor, so you have to fight them. Very valuable, so then you have to fix up your own armor. But as far as it kind of caps out at iron armor with a diamond sword right now, and I don't know if we're going to be looking to expanding that any further as of right now, because we kind of have everything balanced around iron as far as damage rates and the like. But I mean, anything's possible. We're definitely looking into with the new being able to name items. We're able to add custom functionality to items without changing a lot of it, so then we can kind of add little things on top. So expect a few more options and equipment coming soon.
I was gonna do a quick thing about Ghostcraft because I think that kind of walks into that. We did MineZ, but I don't know if some of you guys know Justra. He actually was ill today, so he wasn't able to make it on the panel. But we got together with Justra. Justra came to us and was like, hey, we've been playing the Hidden Source, and this is a fun game. Could we do this in Minecraft? And I looked over at Laser and I was like, what do you think? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. So we created Ghostcraft. That's the other game that we manage now. And Laser has done some phenomenal things. We have a shot bow that when you fire it shoots out a random spread of arrows. We have a machine bow that fires arrows as quickly as you can click. We have a rocket bow that when you shoot it, a fireball goes out and explodes. We have a flame bow that puts flames everywhere. We have a sniper bow, which is pretty much the standard bow, but he gets a grappling hook and he can throw a fishing line up on a wall and then jump up to it. So there's so many cool item effects that Laser was able to implement to make this mode possible. And then the real bread and butter of the mode is that we have the ghost. And the only thing you can see is a little puff of black smoke every tick. And that's how you would find him. And he has all these different special abilities. He can lunge and stick to a wall, and then lunge again and stick to the ceiling. He can send fake sounds down to just panic the players. He gets grenades. He gets a ton of different tools. Now it's him versus 9 players, so he's got to be smart about how he does it. But and I'll let Laser talk a little more about it. But that's our other mode. It's very exciting because again, it's all server side. You You don't have to install a single client-side mod, but we were able to pretty much recreate a very, very unique mode in Minecraft just at the server level.
And honestly, if you want to peek at kind of what's coming in Minecraft, Ghostcraft also was a way of getting away from the Minecraft framework and approaching things from a new direction and just being able to start with a fresh code base to try something new. And so if you ever try out Ghostcraft, there's a link in the bottom left of the MineZ website to get to like the server list and all that. And if you ever try that out, if you want to see what's coming in MineZ, a lot of the stuff that's in Ghostcraft, like the grenade system with multiple types of grenades will probably be coming over, and definitely different kinds of bows. Like I don't know if we'll necessarily go shot bow, machine bow, etc. They'll need to be balanced, but we'll definitely have different kinds of bows based on the bow's name, and so that way you can kind of collect weapons and the like. I saw you've been raising your hand for like forever. So what's up?
Sorry, I'm not super familiar with MineZ.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering what you're doing or planning on doing with villagers and how they turn into zombies.
So we've been kind of debating that with settlements, how we want to have like players being able to interact with the settlements that are there. If we want to have a villager there, right now villager zombies will spawn right now, and they behave the same as the normal MineZ zombies, which at least we were able to see an accurate representation of MineZ gameplay before my laptop died. So that was good. You know, you have your computer, of course, errors out right when you're around a horde of zombies. How many people have had that happen, right? And so, but yeah, I mean, as far as like villager zombies and things, right now I'm not doing anything special with those, but that's the kind of variation where we can take a villager zombie and give it something different to do than a normal zombie. But yeah, as of right now, they're just pretty. Oh, preparing items with enchantments is the question? Actually, we do with the settlement system. I set up a customer pairing system that will prepare items with enchants. So anyone who's been collecting like infinity bows and wanting to get those up to 100% durability, when the settlements come out, there will be a blacksmith where you'll be able to spend iron to repair your weapon up to full health. It won't be cheap, but you'll be able to do it. So, is there anyone unfamiliar with MineZ that had a question on just kind of like what MineZ is? Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, what's our official website is www.minez.net, and you can always just Google MineZ, and but yeah, it's minez.net, and then the server list, we've got 30 servers set up, and I think 17 of those are public or so, yeah. And so there's 1,700 slots where anyone can just join in and start playing, and there's US, European, and Australian servers as well, so you can kind of pick where you want to join and whatever's going to have the best ping. But then the server list is probably the best. I mean, if you want to get started, there's us1-public.minez.net is like one of the servers, and then you kind of substitute 1 through 12 in that US number naming convention. But yeah, the server list on minez.net would be the best to find a server to play on. What you got?
Currently there are only 3 European developer servers, and that's quite not much. We have a friends of ours that are getting on, so it's always full. Is it possible to get all European servers?
Yes. In fact, I set up a 4th public server just before I left MineCon, and then I will be setting up a 5th one when I get back. So I know it took me a little while to get to it, and a lot of it is we have to see enough people who get the premium membership to help us pay the server bills. But long story short, I have 2 more public servers coming, and hopefully maybe I can get another couple more. So I'm trying to optimize the boxes and see what I can do, and I've got another box now as well. So we're always looking to try to grow as many slots as we can.
You talked about wolves being enemies, but they beat human dogs as competitors, and might that not be done in MineZ as well?
We actually already have that coded. The original idea behind wolves was that you would go and fight them and they'd be incredibly dangerous. And when you got the reason we didn't want you to ever hit the alpha first was that the goal was to kill all the beta wolves. And then if you get the alpha to low health, you can feed them a bone and there's a chance to tame them. And then the idea was to have was it Tamagotchi?
Yeah, like a Tamagotchi, yeah, it's like type of level.
Yeah, so basically the idea was that you'll be able to, excuse me for not knowing that, I should know that. I'm old enough where I should. But anyways, the idea was to level up the wolf, and the wolf would be persistent with you. You could have it fight zombies with you and stuff like that. That's in. But again, the wolf AI is very expensive, and for those of you who have played on the MineZ servers, you'll notice that we try to make it almost as lag-free as we can get it. And that has taken a lot of work. Laser has rewritten a ton of plugins. We have so many custom plugins because we don't want to just go out and find something that fits our general idea. We specifically code what we need so that there's not excess code slowing down the servers. And so for that matter, we would never put in a feature that degraded the experience and made it so that you get in these servers and you're rubber banding around. Now you may have that problem, but it usually is not us. So we're very proud of that, and that's why we make sure we run the best servers. We optimize all the way down to the operating system level. We have memory tweaks, all kinds of things we've done to make the MineZ servers even possible.
In the back, green hat.
What's the worst monster to come across in
Right now, the worst monster to come across in MineZ would be a giant. Actually, no, I think the worst monster to come across in MineZ would be a player. So, but yeah, as far as like mobs that are in the world, though, a giant would be the worst. For people who haven't played MineZ, what a giant does is he runs kind of fast like the zombies. I mean, he's huge, so I'd expect him to move fast. But then he'll kick you, and when he kicks you, he launches you forever away. And then he's also got his infamous jump attack, where he jumps and then lands, and then the whole earth kind of shakes, and then sends out a shockwave that'll just throw you sometimes careening over ledges. It'll hurt you for like 3 hearts each hit. It's brutal. And so you get together with a group of guys, and you all just die.
Unfortunately, our experience is in server-side coding. We have never done client-side coding. I would love to produce a single-player version of MineZ, but unfortunately, we don't have the time. We have so many features that we want to get to, and if I could clone and make 3 lasers, then maybe that could happen. But we both have 8 to 5 jobs, and we do this as a hobby. And we now, granted, we work pretty much the moment we get home until about 2 or 3 in the morning, and then just basically learn to survive with no sleep. But yeah, we're a small team, so unfortunately we probably won't see a single player version of the game. We're still thinking through where we want to put it. So the settlements is such a huge feature because it has a political metagame with it that I want them to be far enough away from players who don't want to be a part of it, where you can choose not to play that part of MineZ, but I also want it to be integrated in the world and it doesn't feel like it's just an outlier. So, but what I'm definitely doing is adding more landmass. So I do all the world painting in World Painter. If you've been with MineZ in the beginning, we started with a rather small area map, and then we expanded it west, and then east, and then north, and I just keep going in a different direction. But you can pretty much, for those of you who've been here in the beginning, you can tell which area of the map I worked on first. It's the most simple. And then you start to go north and you see, oh wait, there's big canyons. Then you go to the east and you go, wait, there's custom trees. And I am learning and learning World Painter and becoming more talented with it. So I'm gonna go north. It's gonna take me a while though, because I'll probably put about 20 or 30 hours into the land on it. So I don't know when it'll come, but I would love to get my build team on it before the end of the year. So.
Yeah, it should be known. Yeah, High Life basically lays out the lay of the land and gets the general feel of the continent. And then we have our talented build team of, I think we've only got what, 6 who build the map, and so it's a very small, precise, sharp crew that we've got with the MineZ staff, and I think they do a pretty stand-up job with it, and are always working to churn out new content. And so yeah, so the first thing's to expand. I don't know if anyone was there when we first expanded east with the map, but it took a long time to get everything filled in because we want to make sure that there's just enough to visit and to explore in those parts of the world. Like when there's a new area, we don't want to just give you a big landmass and say, well, there you go run away and die. Oh, right here in the middle, little guy, right there. Zombie animals? We kind of did, I kind of focused on making the wolves kind of like they were zombie wolves, but just because they're always angry, and the angry wolves kind of look like zombie wolves, I don't know, ish, you can pretend. Zombie sheep, somebody recently posted on the subreddit that we should replace all the zombies with sheep. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but definitely employing other mobs is definitely something we'd love to do. It's kind of fun because with MineZ we've boiled it down to where, I mean, we've only got zombies and giants, but Minecraft, it's kind of just a great example of how Minecraft just enables anyone to do anything, because we've stripped out so much of Minecraft, and now we can take it and start adding it back in piece by piece with unique functionality. And so we're really just re-adding the stuff that already exists, but with entirely new backing code that makes it cool. I was trying to come up with a good word for it, but right here. Yeah, definitely. The question was, will we add other mobs besides zombies? And I think, yeah, definitely that's something we're going to be looking into.
Let's do gentleman right there, the green. You forgot your question? Okay, it was Tracy. Okay.
It is a new idea that they got in the game,
He asked what the pickaxe exists as an item you can get right now. He asked what the use was. The pickaxe is the tool that you'll be using to gather resources to build settlement buildings. And it's been introduced so that players start to get them in their inventories, so when we finally do introduce it, people will kind of be ready to go. The Day M guys, I've seen that mod before. What they're doing is incredibly ambitious, and I wish the best of luck to them. For those of you who don't know, the Day M mod is a client-side version. I think right now, mostly from what I've checked in, they're mostly client-side. I don't know a whole lot, but their idea is to fully customize with backpacks. But their kind of focus is to kind of recreate DayZ in Minecraft, where ours was to do more of an inspired mod and then kind of go our own direction, which is why you see boss mobs and settlements and like more of an adventure style experience. But now, as far as a Charinus map, we've been talking, and we would like one day to be able to put a second large map in MineZ, so that players who've been playing for 5 or 6 months now can log in one day and go, oh wait, I don't even know where I am. I think that first time you get into the server is some of the most fun. You just don't know where you are, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know where to go, and it's the joy of finding out what you're doing. So now, as far as it being Charinus, probably not. We tend to keep with a medieval theme. We could go a modern theme, we're not sure yet. I don't think we're not about just copying others' work though, so we would create something in our own style and own vision on a different map.
See somebody who's like buried somewhere in the middle. Look out, right here in the center of the blonde, right there. Oh, the question is if we could have implement where the person who makes the settlement or can keep themselves in power as the owner. we're going to be going with the election-based system every week. So in order to do that, you would have to be either bribing or strong-arming your followers into voting for you. So I guess that's really up to you and how you want to run your settlement. But if you can maintain power, more power to you. Up here in the front. Yeah, the question is if the settlements will act like a base where you can kind of always know where you're going to spawn at. One of the... Yeah, so and kind of a backstory to that, spawning in MineZ works where you spawn in like the spawn box, I like to call it affectionately, which has all like the information and stuff, and then you type /MineZ spawn to actually spawn into the server, and it puts you along the coast on the south. But the question is if the settlement will be like a spawn point where you can always spawn there, and the answer is yes. We do have a barracks building that you'll have to build, so it'll be up to your settlement mates and yourself to keep that building in good repair, because they can do great overtime, so you have to keep feeding it resources, make sure it's up. But if it's in good repair and it's present in your settlement, and you're welcome to spawn, and you can spawn directly to the barracks. That's the plan, at least. I haven't implemented that yet, so we'll see how it goes. If nobody votes at all, and then whoever the current leader is stays the leader until the next vote the next week, a week later, or it might do it the next day. I'll have to review in the code. Actually, it's a really good question. I know I've accounted for that. I just can't remember how.
Let's go way in the back.
Do you guys make an official server?
An official server?
Yeah.
Yes, we have 31 servers. So all you have to do is you go to the MineZ site, MineZ.net, and then you just go there, and we have 31 servers. You can type one of the addresses in your client, and you're good to go. Let's go over here on the left.
We have one panel activating access to the others.
We get that question a lot. The question was, would we ever franchise the servers out or let other people host it? It's a tough question to answer, and we get it a lot. And but the reason we keep the MineZ code private, first of all, is because it is not developed with ease of use in mind.
That makes me sound horrible.
You should. Anyway, but we code things so quickly and have added so many features to MineZ that we haven't taken time to write full admin commands and to be able to really make it easy for someone. So if we were to release it, we would have to spend a lot of time to put that into the code, but then we'd also have to support the plugins from like a CraftBucket release perspective, which we just don't have time to do. We don't have enough people. On the other side too, we are optimized down to the hardware level. So our servers are very, very expensive, and we've put a lot of work into getting I don't know how many total plugins we have, but like I said, we have 28 custom plugins running smoothly at 100%. So you put that together, and then finally, as a security reason, we have a global database, and by releasing it, we might expose something that could hurt the integrity of our existing servers. So we've always told ourselves that if we decide to stop making MineZ one day, we will release the plugins. But as long as we've got it, we're trying to do our best to be the best kind of host we can and provide slots to you guys. But yeah, unfortunately, we just can't do it. He asked and there's a northeast structure at Ingus. We have a number of build team members. That one is championed by one of our staff. Her username is Nicola. And so she started working on it and then got sidetracked, and I think she wanted to add some new cities. She probably every couple weeks adds, I don't know, I'd say about a dozen build submissions. So she's hard at work. She has grand plans for it. I don't know what those plans are. I've kind of empowered the build team to do what they want to do because they are amazing builders. And so I just kind of let them go. So If you have that question, that's actually a very good question though. So, you know, if you go post on the subreddit or on the forums and people, and she can go on there and answer that for you.
Let's go orange jacket. Well, you can. They're run in. They're USA based, but I mean you can join from anywhere. But we don't have any like Canada or South America or anywhere. The US servers are just in the United States. But yeah. It's just dependent. So some people can connect from Australia to the US servers and get a better connection than they get to the Australian servers just because of the nature of somehow they get there faster. We just have those for convenience that people, those are where those are hosted. You're not locked into which ones you can and can't join. Oh, the question is that the zombie spawning used to be a little more aggressive in the wilderness, where they would spawn outside cities and on pathways, and recently, well, a few months ago, I guess actually, we overhauled the spawning system to make them more focused around the cities and in the cities, and then the encounters in the wilderness are a little few and far between. Yeah, HighlifeTTU's the guy who's like about the balance and all that, so I'll let him answer it.
A lot of what happens is when we initially roll something out, it sounds great on paper, and we're so passionate about the game for certain features. Laser and I will argue, and we get heated about it because we have different opinions on what's going to work. But in that case, I was getting a lot of feedback from the players that it just wasn't fair. And so I hopped in game and just started to play, which sometimes I think as developers you forget to do. And I was running around and I felt like I could get into a city really easy and get a bunch of stuff, but then I'd go out in the wilderness and then suddenly 8 zombies are on me and I die. And it's like, that really doesn't make sense for a zombie apocalypse. So we felt like we overhauled it, and I would say largely the feedback has been positive. I think it did make things a little bit easier, but I think it needed to be a little bit easier.
You said you wanted to add remotes to the game, so I was wondering, there's already a skeleton jockey in the game, but if you mind for maybe a zombie jockey or something like that.
I haven't even looked into trying to do a zombie jockey. I know that like entities can ride entities, and I think I could probably say, "Hey, you ride that spider." I'm gonna play with that, and I'm gonna see what happens. But I don't know if I don't know if that'll ever show up. But we can definitely play with it. So that'd be kind of fun. You with the awesome glasses.
If I was to buy a premium membership, will it last like forever or will it?
The question was just on our premium membership system and how those work. There's different levels of the premium membership, and so we do have like whatever you purchase. There's the achievements and stats system that you unlock for your characters. That those are tracked on the website, and there's private server access time. And that is dependent on what you purchase. Like that's all laid out on the website as far as how long you get for what level of the package you purchase. But if that expires, you can still play on the public servers, and you still have the achievements and all that, those benefits, and you still have our immense gratitude for helping us. Because I mean, without the people who contribute to the servers, I mean, we would not exist at all. And so yeah, we definitely want to make sure that we say thanks for that. In the middle, right there. You right there, yeah.
Can one player invade another player's settlement and take over?
That's what we're trying to. That's when HighlifeTTU talks about heated arguments. We actually had a very a large, amiable discussion regarding the raiding mechanics, and we're actually working on that right now as far as how invasion works. We want to make sure that. Like a settlement is going to represent hours and hours of work as far as like getting all the buildings set up the way you want, getting all the resources to the areas and having to harvest them, and lots of danger. And so we want to make sure that the players who make the settlements get to enjoy their safe haven sufficiently for the amount of work they've gotten. But then we also want to make sure that the players who want to invade the other players' settlements get enough reward to make that a viable strategy. So we're still working on that, and that's still very much up in the air. And we have very differing opinions.
You know, it's good. Laser and I work very well together because we are very similar in a lot of ways, but we're very different in others. And so that leads very well to design, because I can tell him something and he'll be like, that's stupid. And he'll just straight up tell me that. But that's good, because as somebody, I put a lot of thought and balance, but you can catch me before that happens, and it's very important, because that's the reason we've been able to do a lot of things and keep the game relatively balanced. There's still going to be tweaks here and there, and I think for settlements especially, we're going to need to really test them to make sure they get balanced out. But yeah, let's do way in the back.
Well, what do you think about bandits?
Oh, I knew I'd get this one. Okay, for those of you who don't know, bandits are players who kill other players. If you kill enough of them, you get a red tag in the game as a kind of a warning. There are very many differing opinions on what people think about bandits. All I have to say is that PvP is a part of the game. Eventually, you get frustrated by it, because when you first join, you're going to die many times to other players. But there's going to be a point 2 or 3 months down the road where zombies aren't hard anymore, giants aren't hard anymore. But what's going to be hard for you? What's better than any AI we can ever code? Another human being. So that being said, we've always taken the approach. I recognize that bandits tend to go after new players. We've tried to take approaches to encourage cooperation versus trying to penalize being in PvP, and you've seen that through. We have a healing mechanic where you can only do it with another person. You can bandage them. And we've had the green name for the healer status, and we've also made it so that as kind of the spawn camping thing, if you kill another player too close to spawn, their zombie doesn't drop, so you don't even get any items. So all you're doing by killing those new players is basically breaking your sword and having your armor go down in durability, and those people will spawn again in another 30 seconds and keep chipping away at you. So that's kind of how we look at it. I think PvP will always exist, and I think it's an important part, as long as we make sure we don't make it so frustrating a new player can't get into the game.
Let's do back center on right here. Yep.
Can you add that in MineZ, if someone dies, you can play the zombie as his zombie?
Oh, the question is like when adding in, so when a player dies, you play as the zombie, so that way you get the ultimate revenge on the person who killed you. It's not so much a direction that I'd like to take with it. We toyed with the idea at the beginning, but I think when a player becomes a zombie, the point is they lose themselves. They're now a zombie. A zombie is mindless. A zombie is instinct driven. It's an animal, and so when a player dies, for anyone who hasn't played MineZ, they turn into a zombie, and the zombie has the player's face and has the player's items, thanks to the wonderful 1.4 update that allowed us to do that. I loved it when it came. It was like Christmas. And yeah, we have time. And so but yeah, so the player zombie, yeah, I don't think it'll ever be player controlled, because the whole point of a zombie is that it's a zombie. I think we all have time for one more. I'll do right here. Command blocks. I think they already are implemented in some of the builds, actually, where the builders come up with some fancy things that they can only do with the command blocks. Well, they could do, but then they'd have to wait on me to have to code something for them, and so they'd rather just implement the command blocks and use those to make that stuff. And so, yeah, they're definitely very useful, as we've seen, like with Seth Bling's Team Fortress 2 map, where he kind of used command blocks for everything, but we kind of, I know they're dispersed partially in some of the redstone contraptions on MineZ.
Well, guys, thanks so much for coming. It's been a joy.